Hello everyone, welcome to What If Quirkless Deku Had the Powers of Godzilla, the King of Monsters movie. Before we start, please go support ancalagonintheblack for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some wrong he or she calling here because it's translated, so let me clear this. Deku is a male in this story. App 1. In the world, people managed to develop something called quirk, a power that each one only managed to have, but beyond that power that people came to have, both people with quirk and people who were quirkless, there were other things known as cages, enormous titans, monsters of inexplicable power, being giant destroyers that all of humanity came to fear. Some more than others that could be seen like Godzilla or worse, but that doesn't matter, the important thing is happening inside a bedroom. Izuku. Boy, am I dreaming, I haven't slept like this in a while, really. These were the words of our protagonist as he barely woke up. Izuku. I guess I should start getting ready to go to class, I think I better start. Before I could do anything, I started to hear a knock on the door, making me look at it. Izuku. Is something wrong? Uraka. I just want to know if you were sleeping. Izuku. I just woke up, I'm leaving now. Uraka. No need, we'll leave you breakfast outside in the living room. I hope you like it. Izuku. Thank you very much for that. Those were the green-haired man's words to his girlfriend who was beginning to leave. Izuku. Wow, since I was able to enter UA, everything has improved, although it's a shame that All Might lost his quirk. Recently there was All Might's fight against All for One, so as soon as they started living in the UA dormitories, the young man could only go out while walking to find breakfast on the table. Izuku. Thank you, friends, I think that from this moment everything is changing for the better. The boy only stopped by to eat a little, and when he finished he started going to class, wandering through the hallways until he got to where his class was. Izuku. I hope Aizawa-sensei doesn't punish me for being late. As he began to open the door, a pillar of ice came out of it, hitting Izuku head-on, causing him to fly out of the UA, only to fall to the floor. Izuku. What the hell was that? Shoto. Looks like you were able to withstand my attack, it's a shame you didn't die. Izuku. What the hell? He was about to get up, but ended up receiving a kick from Lita, causing him to crash into a wall. Lita. We already have you, traitor. Izuku. I don't understand what's going on. Bakugo. It's normal. Nezu. We better refresh our memory so we can understand what's going on. Saying that, they threw some papers on the floor, which were photos of Izuku making deals with a League of Villains, causing him to be surprised. Nezu. And that's just a little bit, we have videos, recordings where you do all this. Izuku. But I never did this, I swear I was never with the League of Villains. At one point he ended up receiving a blow to the stomach from All Might, who was in that strong form. Izuku. What the hell? You're supposed to have lost your quirk. All Might. That's what it's supposed to be, but the truth is it's a trap, we set it up just so you'd fall right in, now you're before us. Izuku. But I'm telling you the truth, I didn't do it. Uraka. Stop lying, you just wanted to use us all so you could have everything you wanted. Izuku. But I tell the truth, I never did anything against him, I swear on my life. Bakugo. You better swear on your mother's life. Izuku. Como. All Might. It's true, your mother is dead, I don't remember which of us killed her. He said it as if it didn't matter, under the gaze of Izuku, who was clearly annoyed by it. Izuku. Damn wretches. Uraka. And it's a good thing that I was unfaithful to you before all this of knowing that you were a traitor. He said this while giving Lita a kiss in front of Izuku, who was only getting angry. Izuku. I swear I'll finish you all off, none of you will survive until the end of it all. He said this as he activated his One for All, only to launch himself against everyone of whom did the same, almost as if it were something never seen before. That young green-haired man who had most occupied the third place of the strongest in the class was now like the strongest in the school due to the combat he was maintaining. Every time someone tried to get close to Izuku they only managed to fly away, teachers, students and professionals. The boy was keeping everyone at bay until at one point he stood completely still. Izuku. What's wrong? My body isn't responding to my orders. At one point All Might ended up giving him a blow that sent him flying. All Might. Thank you for staying still for at least a few moments. When he fell to the ground his veins began to show a black color as he began to writhe in pain. Haminari. I hope you liked your breakfast. If you want to know the recipe, the secret to everything is a powerful poison that kills you slowly. Ajiro. It consists of being able to make every person who is using their quirk at the moment begin to die slowly, you cannot escape from this. He said this as he watched Izuku spit out some blood but was getting up with difficulty. Sato. Although it's good to know that we won't need you anymore. Izuku. What are you talking about? Toru. All this time we were just using you so you could end up fighting the League of Villains, in other words, well you ended up injured in the hospital unconscious, we were only hurting ourselves a little while we took all the credit. Though Koyami. Without your stupidity in this place, we can all take advantage of this moment to be the best. Shoji. And we ourselves will kill you, otherwise the poison will not be the one to kill you, because we do not know how much time you have left to live with all this, certainly not as much as you imagine. Izuku. They need more than that to get me to stay on the floor, scum. All Might. In that case, everyone goes after the one who suffers. Saying that, everyone launched themselves against Izuku, attacks came from everywhere, colliding with the boy's body, who could barely withstand such a number of attacks that were against him. He was beginning to lose his senses, as he was less and less able to stay standing until they stopped attacking, leaving a body full of blood everywhere. Sniper. Is he dead? All Might. I don't know, I'll take care of that, but the rest of you go rest, you did well. Saying that, everyone began to leave, while All Might just grabbed Izuku by the neck and jumped away from the spot, spending some time until he reached a cliff that faced directly into the sea. All Might. I think this place is perfect. Izuku. Maldito traitor. Hearing that, the man lifted him into the air. All Might. You're still alive, that's interesting. Izuku. I will take revenge on you traitors. The words barely made it out of his mouth as All Might only pulled out a hair. All Might. Yes, in the meantime I'll take this. But that he threw it into the sea, causing it to fall into the water and begin to sink. Izuku. What's happening? It seems like this is death, it's bad because I can't even do anything else, this is my end. Creature. This is not the end for a king, it is the beginning, you must get up and prove that you are capable of fighting. Izuku. Who's speaking? But that he saw how a giant being began to appear, an ancient dinosaur began to appear as if it had dorsal spines, 2 arms with a large tail like its body, it was giving off blue and light blue flashes in the place, apart from having very dark blue skin. Izuku. I know you are that Godzilla, the one nicknamed the strongest kaiju. Godzilla. Exactly, I am the same Godzilla and I can see that you just appeared with me, in death and in life. Izuku. I don't understand death and life. Godzilla. Right now we are between 2 stops between life and death, I am dead from a battle I had, and you are alive. Izuku. Yes, but not for long. I'm sinking in the sea. I'm going to die and my limbs don't work. Godzilla. Not by much, look boy I was the best fighter on earth, but I simply think it's better if I now leave the position to someone else, someone who is capable of being the new king of the monsters. Izuku. You're not serious, me being the new king of the titans is crazy. Godzilla. Not by much, just think of the enormous power you can have apart from being able to take revenge, you are going to be the champion of the earth, and not only that you are going to put a balance in this place, a balance that everyone must respect. Izuku. So you want it to be like a new kaiju, the strongest one you have, if I'm not mistaken. Godzilla. Exactly, I want you to be my new king, someone who controls the cages and knows how to manipulate things as they are. At that Izuku just looked at the place where he was followed by seeing Godzilla, the enormous monster that appeared imposing no matter what happened. Izuku. Well, I guess there aren't many options. I really would like that to take revenge and be strong again so I can maintain balance on Earth, so my answer is yes, I want to be the new king. Godzilla. Then you must prepare yourself because progress may be a bit painful, but you will get used to it soon. I believe in you. Izuku. At least I'd like to know if there's anything else I should know. Godzilla. Be careful because old enemies will return and plan to get revenge. They will try to kill you, but I know you will be able to survive and show who is in charge. Now I better give you everything before something bad happens. He said this as a light began to appear, causing all the darkness to be illuminated by the blue light of the former king of monsters. Hap 2. Months passed since Izuku began to have powers again, but this time the power of the king of all monsters that were making him get up again. Everyone thought well, although there were beginning to be more attacks by Nomus, making things worse right now a large part of Class AB, and the professionals were in trouble when facing the enormous and powerful Gigantomachia, who was only destroying everything. Kendo. The bomb plan doesn't work, that thing keeps fighting. Momo. I know, we have to think of something else right now, if Gigantomachia comes to the city things are going to get worse. Avi. Too bad things would be easier if they hadn't killed Midoriya. Lita. What are you talking about? He was supposed to be his partner. It makes no sense for him to attack them. Avi. It's true if those tests were real. Midnight. Wait, what are you saying? Avi. It's pretty obvious, those tests were false tests that we created to try to weaken their forces, and boy did it really work. He said this with a smile as everyone looked at him and was surprised by it. Jiru. So he was never a traitor, but we betrayed him. Avi. Until they can guess now, we better finish this once and for all, let's finish them all off, Gigantomachia. A huge perfect Nomu was about to attack him with a blow towards the class, although more specifically towards Momo who couldn't move, but before he could hit her he stopped. Avi. K-Sused. He said this as he noticed how the blow began to recede until he took out his fist to see a young man with dark blue hair, although more intense at the tips, slanted golden eyes with a tail that had some thorns, along with a black muscle shirt, revealing blue marks on his body like black combat boots and black pants, and to finish off some bracelets with spikes. Boy. Hey, idiot, be more careful, you don't hit the ladies. Avi. So a new one, I don't think it's of much importance. At one point they saw how he jumped in front of Gigantomachia and hit him in the face, causing him to retreat, surprising everyone. Toga. What was that? Boy. Well, you should be interested in knowing who you're fighting against. Avi. So talk to find out who I fought against. Boy. You fight against the king of all monsters, the successor of Godzilla, you fight against the new king Izuku. He said it with a smile before the eyes of everyone who was only looking at that name. Twice. I think he ended up going crazy. Avi. I myself saw how he was thrown into the sea by the hands of All Might. Izuku. That's true, but don't throw something that can live in water into the water. Now you're going to learn who you're fighting against, you miserable insect. But that they saw how it began to have a more intense bright blue, so that a blue fire came out of its mouth hitting one of Gigantomachia's eyes, causing it to step back while giving a cry of pain. Midnight. How is that possible? We were told you were dead. Izuku. You better go to the city, the villains are trying to kill people, now I'll take care of this. Midnight. And how can we be sure that you can handle that? Izuku. Now you'll see, try to stay away. He said this so that they could see how his body began to increase in size, causing them to move away. The villains saw how his size increased until they saw that it was Godzilla himself who was at the head of the League of Villains. Spinner. Not to mention nothing, but I think it's best we go. Avi. If we better go down, Gigantomachia is trying to kill him. He said this as they were about to get off, and Gigantomachia launched himself against Izuku, crashing into him, but he only held him until he lifted him into the air to throw him to another part of the forest so that he could begin to walk towards the perfect Nomu. Kaminari. What do we do? Midnight. The best thing is to go to the city, we must finish off the villains before something bad happens, I think Izuku can handle him. But that everyone began to leave, while Izuku only arrived in front of Gigantomachia, so that with a movement of his tail, he hit Gigantomachia, causing him to fly away and crash into a mountain, followed by receiving a blow from Izuku's claws, causing him to fall again, before the enormous being that had all the advantage in the place. Toga. I don't understand how it's possible. Gigantomachia is supposed to be a perfect being like Nomu, it's impossible for him to be defeated. Avi. It should be that way, but it seems like he's going to have some problems against Izuku, he just can't stand up to him like nothing. At one point in the fight Izuku just happened to hit him with his tail, knocking him down to put his foot on him and starting to apply force against Gigantomachia, who was just trying to get his foot off of him, but in one way or another, he wasn't able to do so until he began to see how that bright blue light was once again making itself present, only for Izuku to launch that breath of fire hitting Gigantomachia, making him have no choice but to receive it for a few moments until at one point it stopped, leaving Gigantomachia with large burns on his body. Izuku. I think this is the end of the fight, you just look sorry to see yourself as a miserable piece of trash. He was about to start leaving until he saw Gigantomachia start to get up only for him to turn around. Izuku. So you want to continue, then let's get on with this. Gigantomachia began to run against him in order to finish him off, but at one point he ended up falling due to a blow from Izuku that he could only follow up with a blow from his tail, causing him to suffer from the pain that he ended up receiving until Izuku began to return to his normal state as before. Izuku. That should be enough, I better make some things clear elsewhere. He said this as he walked away for a few moments until he arrived at a place where Tamura was keeping everyone at bay elsewhere. Tamura. Come on, heroes are always supposed to win, try to give me more of a fight than this. Bakugo. Miserable, I can barely move. Todoroki. We have to do something to be able to beat him, he must have a part where he can't be strong. Gran Torino. If you think that, then keep looking for a way to finish him off, if you can't do it, then try to create one. Mirio. In any case, we have fewer and fewer opportunities against him, he is cornering us more and more, and we can't do anything against him. Tamura. You're starting to bore me more and more, I better finish you all off before anything else. He said this as he prepared to finish everyone off, but at one point he ended up receiving a kick to the face, causing him to crash into a wall, making him see Izuku, who was just standing as if it were nothing. Izuku. Sorry, I think I missed it, I guess I got here on time. Tamura. More support, that doesn't matter, you're just going to fall like the rest. Izuku. We'll see about that. At one point he was in front of him, giving him a full blow to his stomach, causing him to spit blood, followed by being grabbed by the face, and ending up being slammed against the floor, and followed by a knee to his face, causing him to spit blood. Izuku. Like I said, we'll see. Tamura. Who the hell are you? Izuku. Simple, remember that false evidence you created to frame someone specifically, then you will know who I am. Tamura then opened his eyes to the gaze of everyone who only had a clear doubt about the new young man. Tamura. You're supposed to be dead, Izuku Midoriya is dead, it's impossible for you to still be alive. At one point he finished with another blow that sent him crashing into a wall, causing him to spit out more blood. Izuku. I'm just still alive, I can't die as easily as you expected, you're someone inferior to me. Tamura. Wretch, you must die one way or another. When he tried to launch himself against Izuku, he simply stopped him with one hand to knee him in the face, causing him to move away until his hands were taken by Izuku, who then brought him closer to him to headbutt him, causing him to move away again, spitting out more blood. Todoroki. Is it really Izuku? It's impossible. Gran Torino. In fact, it seems so. At one point they began to hear a call and had to answer it. Gran Torino. What's going on, Midnight? This better be important. Midnight. Well, Gigantomachia just fell, he was defeated. Gran Torino. Who defeated him? Midnight. You won't believe it, he was defeated by Izuku, he is still alive, and not only that, he is stronger than before. Gran Torino. I would like to know something right now, he has dark blue hair with the tips of his hair even bluer if I'm not mistaken. Midnight. Yes, even though we lost sight of him, we don't know where he is. Gran Torino. I do, he's beating up Tamura right now. He said this as he watched Izuku lift his foot to stomp hard on Tamura, causing him to scream in pain from the young man's strength, proving himself to be an impossible being to defeat. Izuku. You just disgust Tamura, it's better for you to give up, you can't fight me, besides your body takes the toll for having used that power for so long, that's what you earn. Tamura. No, it's impossible. I'm not supposed to be defeated yet. I still have to keep fighting. I have to make my master proud. Izuku. Not all of us can make our teachers proud, now that you know that, you better give up. Tamura. No. He tried to hit him, but Izuku blocked it to follow up with a blow to his stomach, followed by another to his stop to kick him to the side of his body, breaking one of his arms, and grabbing him by the foot to lift him in the air and slam him against the floor, making him spit blood, and to finish with a kick that sent him crawling on the floor. Izuku. It seems like you can't continue anymore, let's finish this game Tamura, or you're going to be in worse shape than you are now, I'm telling you this for your own good, really. Tamura. No, I can't lose now, I must make my master proud no matter what. Izuku. Anyway, accept things as they are, you simply can't beat me, you must accept defeat. Tamura. If I can't defeat you now then I'll gather strength to defeat you another time. He said this as he jumped to leave before Izuku's gaze, who sighed. Izuku. Too bad I got away, I better rest a little, I wasted a lot of energy. Bakugo. Esper Deku. At one point they saw him leave the place with a great leap. Hap 3. Izuku was in a house quite calm since he was far from the city, apart from that one way or another, he managed to contact Monarch to reach an agreement in which the same young man would help them with any problems that the same Monarch agents had regarding the cages, making it only as a last resort, in case some cages got out of control, that he had to start fighting in case Monarch could not control things. Izuku. Wow, it was good to reach an agreement with Monarch, now I just have to rest. At one point I started hearing footsteps just so someone would sit next to me. Man. You look like you're having a good time. Izuku. Hey Serizawa, it seems you came to visit as usual, I think you have more questions. Serizawa. Not exactly, we just tried to keep you more hidden after your encounter with the city and the villains. Izuku. Come on Gigantomachia, some high-end nomas were beginning to alter the balance of the earth, not now, but they were going to do it later. Serizawa. And what about your fight against Tamura Shigaraki? I think that's important. Izuku. That's true, that idiot, I can only say that he must learn who is in charge, everyone knows that, they must learn very well who is in charge, otherwise everything will be chaos. Serizawa. I understand, but you have to understand that since Godzilla chose you, you are someone very powerful with not only great powers, but someone who maintains balance, and if people get to know more about you, they will only want to lock you up. Izuku. It's true because of fear, but they are not going to lock up something that they are looking for and accepted forgiveness. Serizawa. What are you talking about? Izuku. Now they know that I am not a traitor, that means that with that, and knowing that I am still alive, they will look for me, they want to have me back with them, and because of my power, they will not lock me up. Serizawa. I think that's clever, but be careful anyway. Izuku. See Piro. He remained silent for a few moments only to begin moving his nose. Serizawa. What's going on? Izuku. I smell a scent. Serizawa. Don't tell me they already found you because that makes it clear that they really want you back with them. Izuku. He's not human, he's a kaiju, but he feels different from the rest. Faced with this, the doctor only took out a computer to set up a radar. Serizawa. But nothing is happening, there is nothing, and if there was, it would already be in the news. Izuku. That's the weird thing, I'm supposed to feel it from the sea, but it's in the forest too close to be honest, I think it's coming towards this place. Serizawa. What do we do? Izuku. Wait here, I'll take care of whatever comes to this house, when I'm done I'll inform you of everything. He said this as he jumped away from the spot to reach the forest where he began to run for a few minutes until he stopped somewhere. Izuku. It gets stronger in this place, I think it's too close, but I don't see it yet. At one point he noticed an attack heading straight towards him, causing him to jump to dodge it. Izuku. And now they attack me. Earl. He seems too fast, good with reflexes. Izuku. I want them to show themselves now, they're going to leave me no choice but to attack them and kill everyone in this forest. Earl. Calm down, there's no need to threaten like that. Izuku. Well if you don't want that then I want you to let yourself be seen. Earl. We are going to do it, but for that I must ask you not to attack. Izuku. Sounds good to me. With that, a girl began to emerge from the trees who was quite beautiful with white hair, 2 antennas, some very light blue eyes, she had white skin, fur around her white neck, she had wings that were black, white, yellow and orange, black boots up to her knees, transparent stockings up to her thighs. A white shirt with a kind of black ribbon around her stomach and a touch of brown on her shoulders. Izuku. You look familiar to me, I'd like to know about that. Earl. It's nice to see you again my king, I'm Mothra the queen of the cages, I suppose you remember a little about that. Izuku. Yes, I have some memories of you, you helped me a lot even if it didn't seem like it. Mothra. I see that the years have been treating you quite well, although I would like to know what you would like me to call you. Izuku. I would like you to call me Izuku only by that name if it is not a problem, let's say. Mothra. Sounds good to me Izuku, then we better get started with this, I guess you should go back to the sea, you know, to continue reigning among the cages. Izuku. Yes, about that I have some pending matters that I would not like to leave for the moment, if you can, you must follow me. Mothra. Sounds good to me, let's go now. He said this as he began to walk with the girl, spending a few moments until they reached a part that was a house where upon entering they saw Serizawa who looked at the girl with clear doubt. Serizawa. What happened? Izuku. I guess you remember Mothra the queen of the cages. Mothra. It's a pleasure Serizawa, I guess it's pretty good to see you again. She said it with a smile, while the man was only surprised at such a thing as he looked at her only to kneel down a little. Serizawa. This is impressive, the Titans returned to claim this land as it should be, this is certainly impressive. He said this while looking at the girl who had a smile. Mothra. There's no need for that kind of thing, I just need to get used to this life, I plan to stay for a while to be able to spend time with Izuku, otherwise it's a problem. Serizawa. As you wish, you are the ones who rule this world from the beginning, you are literally the queen of the planet. Mothra. I don't think there's any need to exaggerate. He said this as he began to look at Izuku as did Serizawa, who looked at how the young man was sitting, showing that he was thinking about some things. Serizawa. What's going on? Mothra. He's just thinking about some important things, some issues that matter a lot to him, and he wants to solve the problems that humanity is causing once and for all. Serizawa. Like a problem that humanity is causing. Izuku. Lately I'm feeling like the earth is asking me to eliminate some specific factories, some factories that endanger the natural order, and I can't allow those kinds of things to continue happening. Serizawa. So that means they want to destroy some factories that are important to humanity, but endanger the earth, so they want you to destroy them. Izuku. I'm afraid it's something like that, I have to destroy them. Serizawa. At least let him talk to make everything normal, there's no need to destroy everything. Izuku. You can't do anything Serizawa, they won't listen to you, so I have to take care of it myself. He said this while his gaze was fixed on a map on the table. Serizawa. If you know they're not going to want this, they're going to attack you. Izuku. Calm down, I know it quite well, I'm going to tell everyone or better yet give them a warning of what happens when they wreak havoc on the natural order when they threaten it, and for that I'm going to attack the factory that is in Japan that way they'll be warned. Serizawa. I only ask that you do as little damage as possible and as for the injured, try not to do anything. Izuku. I'll do everything in my power Serizawa, but you know better than anyone in humanity that I can't afford to just forgive. Serizawa. Yes, I know well, I only ask for that small detail if possible. Izuku. Fine, I'll try. Serizawa. Thanks. Now if you let me, I have to go prepare some things. He said this as he began to walk before the gaze of the young man who was calm. Mothra. Then you're going to have to attack humanity again to make peace. Izuku. I'm afraid so, I don't want to make it worse, humans don't understand until they are attacked, I have no choice. But that the girl walked up to his side and gave him a hug, trying to calm him down. Mothra. Just try to rest a little, you don't have to continue all the time, you just have to try to do as much as possible to avoid problems, apart from that you still have to remember that some cages don't see you as their king, therefore they will try to attack you. Izuku. Yes, I know that well, I will do everything in my power to establish peace. Mothra. That's the way it is said, there's no need for you to feel bad. Izuku. By the way, I would like to know about them. Mothra. Well, Rodin is in his lava as always sleeping and Angerus is resting, although I suppose he comes directly to this place to be able to meet you again. Izuku. It's good to know that they are still with me despite all this, I guess I have no choice but to wait for them. Mothra. Yes, but it will take them a while to get there. Izuku. Well now if you allow me during this time I must establish order before someone does something stupid. He said this as he began to get up. Mothra. You can do that another time, right now I need you so I can get some rest, I want to feel calm knowing you're nearby. Izuku. Well, I better take you to a room where you can sleep, that way you will rest. Mothra. None of that, your room or nothing, I don't take no for an answer. At that the young man just sighed. Izuku. I never thought this was going to be more tiring than I imagined, I guess I have no choice. He said this as he began to carry the girl with his tail and walked. Mothra. If we can ever be together again. Izuku. You better relax, there's no need to be like that, understand that once and for all. Mothra. Not at all, I want it to be this way always and forever. Izuku. If an enemy doesn't kill me, she will. These were his words as he took the girl straight to his room. Hap 4. In a part of Japan everything was calm without knowing that soon things were going to change as a blue glow coming from the sea began to go towards them, and at one point Izuku came out of the water, and in just one jump, he was at the highest point of the company, only to end up making his hair shine, until he launched his atomic breath beginning to hit the place as it exploded. Man 1. Run, a villain is attacking the company. Man 2. Call the heroes. These were his words as they tried to run, causing them to call somewhere while the young man was destroying everything in his path without any mercy until at one point a group began to arrive. All Might. Okay class, this is the last thing we're going to do for a while. Lita. One last villain, that'll be enough for us. Hiroshima. That's right, I'd like to destroy it right now. All Might. Then let's go. When they began to enter the destroyed place they were only looking for the villain, causing all of this, until they saw where the attacks were coming from, causing them to look terrified as it was that young man with hair that was once green, but now dark blue destroying everything. Mina. It's Izuku, this isn't supposed to be possible. Haminari. He always wanted to protect people, he can't attack like that, it doesn't make sense. Mineta. Maybe he wants us all dead. Jiru. But if it were that way, he would have attacked us along with Gigantomachia, otherwise it wouldn't have happened that way. He said this while the young man was just destroying everything until he noticed his presence and stopped. Izuku. What are you doing in this place? All Might. We were told that a villain was destroying this place, I never thought it would be you that villain. Izuku. Now that we see each other All Might, I guess you're going to want to tell me something. All Might. Yes, why does he do this? Izuku. It's simple, I'm protecting the earth. Jiru. But it doesn't make sense, with this you hurt many people, but you protected us from the villain's attack. Izuku. I didn't do it for you, when I take the form as the new king of all cages, it means that I simply have one thing to do, one job only, protect the natural balance. All Might. What do you mean, natural balance? Izuku. The earth has a very important balance that must protect such a simple thing that no one should even touch, therefore no one should harm the earth. Shoji. So that's why you destroy humanity, that's why you attack us now because we destroyed the earth. Sato. It's true that you think we are a danger to the earth and that's why you attack us. Izuku. They are wrong, I do not kill people in exchange for what is necessary, this company like others are contaminating part of the soil, and it is serious because part of this has come to affect the hollow earth, that means that they are damaging the earth thoroughly and I must stop that progress, I must destroy it. All Might. But we can talk about it. Izuku. Please, never listen to me in exchange for seeing that I'm serious like I'm doing right now. Jiru. So you're saying that by doing this they'll take you seriously? Izuku. Well, they called you guys, I guess that's enough to make it clear that I'm serious. All Might. So what can we do to stop him from doing this? Izuku. It's simple, look for those parts of the earth that continue to damage everything, those parts that destroy the earth in exchange for that I will not continue attacking, what's more, I will even protect you from the attacks of other cages. All Might. Another thing, why did he help us with the villain's attack? Izuku. Keep it simple, Nomas shouldn't exist, they can control normal ones, and I have no problems with that, but the high-end Nomas and Gigantomachia were enough to make me get into combat, just for that. He said this as he began to turn around so he could start to leave. All Might. Wait a moment, we want to talk to you, we are not finished. The man put a hand on Izuku, causing him to take it and deliver a direct blow to his wound, causing him to let go long enough to slam him against the floor, only to kick him, causing him to fly, only to end up crashing into parts of the rubble, causing everyone to get into a battle stance. Izuku. Don't even think about it, none of you are at my level, except the one who is looking for you, now understand that I am not the type of person that you can simply make go with you. These were the words of the young man who was leaving the place quite calmly, going through the water, while the entire class began to pull All Might out of the rubble. Lita. Professor, are you okay? All Might. Yes, thank you for helping me, but in any case, young Izuku had to have left somewhere, we have to follow him. Momo. We won't be able to, he left through the water, and it's impossible for us to find him or follow him. All Might. Young Tsuyu should be able to follow him without problems. Tsuyu. I don't think I can move through the sea like him, he knows much more than me and is much faster. But that the man punched the ground as he began to curse. All Might. This can't be possible, there must be a way to fix things so we can get back to UA. These were her words without knowing how to find that young man who escaped from her, as if it were nothing, while in another part in the house the young man was entering with a somewhat bored look until he ended up receiving a hug, making him look at Mothra with a smile for such a thing. Mothra. I'm glad you're back. Izuku. Hello dear, I'm already here, I guess you've been waiting for a long time. Mothra. Partly. She said this as she gave him a kiss, allowing the young man to reciprocate until he noticed Serizawa there just so he could smile at such a thing. Izuku. Hey Serizawa, it seems you really came. Serizawa. I had to do it, you attacked a company. Izuku. If a company that was destroying part of this world and the hollow, you know well that I give you time, but however if nothing happens or a small change, then I have to take charge myself, I cannot let things happen as if nothing. Serizawa. Yes, I know, but there must be another way for us to fix things, there is no need to do everything with violence. Izuku. Yes, I know, apart from that I know that I am too young despite everything, but I know all these people I know quite well, that they will try to do whatever it takes to be able to seem like the dominant ones of the place, they think they can do whatever they want, and no one will stand up to them in exchange for humiliating them. Serizawa. I imagine you ended up humiliating UA if you say that. Izuku. Indeed old friend, I had no choice, they don't understand any other language other than through blows. Serizawa. Well, I guess if you know them, then I have no choice but to listen to you on this one. Izuku. Now we understand each other better, you know well that there are not many things I can do. At one point he began to see how he was hugged from behind by Mothra, who had a look of anguish. Mothra. I accept that I don't like the idea of hurting humanity, but to be honest, we don't have many options if they really endanger the earth. Serizawa. Yes, and I apologize for that, you're just trying to keep things safe with an order that should be there as is. Izuku. Thank you for understanding. Mothra. In any case, you should only pay attention to Monarch, you don't have to worry about us, we are literally cages, the kings who are in charge of maintaining control in this world. Serizawa. Yes, I understand, but humans advance over time to be stronger, and the more we advance we simply become stronger, and each time we think about destroying the cages no matter what. Izuku. So they want to destroy the cages, it's interesting that they want to do that, although it doesn't make any sense, since I don't think they can do it as if nothing happened. Serizawa. I've been hearing that they are starting to create special combat robots that will be in charge of destroying the cages. Mothra. That makes it more interesting if you don't know. Izuku. Con-care robots paradestre cages. At that he just had a smile while giving a few small laughs. Serizawa. I don't understand what's funny. Izuku. It's nothing, it's just that it's been a while since anyone wanted to face me in that way, so it's going to be interesting to fight something that wants to destroy me. Serizawa. So that's all it is, I guess we'd better just talk about whatever topic and try to put these things aside. Izuku. It's true, apart from that the only thing that can destroy me is a second Alpha Titan. He said this with a smile while elsewhere at a pole a helicopter was landing and a man got out and began to walk into a base. Man 1. Sir, what are you doing here? Boss. I just came to see how our friend is doing. But that they began to descend only to end up in front of a huge amount of ice that had a kind of three-headed monster inside. Man 2. Sir, why do you want to see him now? Boss. Although it is strange, it seems that a certain king has just reappeared and I don't know if we will need to use our friend to destroy him. Man 3. But sir, we have robots to deal with this, we can handle these problems. Boss. We don't know if the robots will work properly anyway, but if something bad happens, then we'll bring out our friend the next king, so we can make it clear who rules this world. He said this while looking at a photo of Izuku who was simply fighting against the villains. Pap 5. In a factory in Japan, the UA class was talking to a man from a company, Apex, who was only listening to everything they were telling him about young Izuku who was destroying things since they were putting everything in danger. Boss. Then I understand the danger that this young Izuku represents, but I believe that I can help solve his problem. All Might. I don't understand how to solve our problem. Boss. Yes, I know quite well that you want to have young Izuku back in your lives, and I think I know how to do it. But those words they saw with clear hope the man who only had a smile for that very reason. All Might. And how can we do that? Boss. It's simple, they told me that you react badly to something that endangers the Earth's natural state, especially now that it belongs to my company. All Might. We would indeed like to know what we can do with that. Boss. Please come with me. They saw how he went on to press some buttons followed by leaving, followed by the rest. With that, they went outside where they saw 3 robots that were in some way like Kaminari, Bakugo and Todoroki, who began to use their powers in parts of the Earth. Hiroshima. What is this? Boss. If we manage to get the young man to come, it will be with robots, and luckily I made some inspired by you. All Might. And when do you think he'll come? Boss. It won't be long, apart from those robots you see are just bait for the real trap. But that they watched as in the distance a blue light began to appear in the water which only went towards them, causing them to begin to have a single thought. Momo. It's really getting closer, I can't believe this. Bakugo. And to think that he actually plans to destroy this place. Boss. Anyway, get everyone out of there, there's no one inside, we're completely sure. At that point the young man began to come out of the water, only to appear upset by such a thing as he began to move forward. Izuku. These things never learn, I guess I should just destroy them all. The young man began to move forward only for the man to press a button, causing some gates to begin to open. Boss. Let's see what you do against Bracer Phoenix, Saber Athena, Guardian Bravo, and Gypsy Avenger. The 4 robots appeared before the young man who only seemed more upset than before, beginning to ignore the others who were beginning to leave. Izuku. I will destroy them all. The young man began to run against the robots while they began to shoot at the young man who was resisting those attacks, as if they were nothing against him, only for when he arrived to grab Gypsy by the head, throwing him against Guardian Bravo, causing the 2 to fall, followed by grabbing Saber Athena's leg to throw him against the factory, although he failed to avoid a blow from Bracer Phoenix, who began to advance while hitting the young man repeatedly, causing him to back away from such a thing. All Might. Do you really think this is going to work? Boss. Of course they should, they were made to fight against anything. But that they saw how the young man ended up receiving another blow, but this did not move him, they only saw how he began to move his head staring at the robot that tried to give him another blow, but the young man stopped him with one hand, only to go on to hit him, causing him to fall to the floor, and was going to continue if it were not for Guardia Bravo, who took him with his whip preventing him from moving only so that he would be hit by Gypsy and Saber Athena, who began to attack the young man before everyone's eyes. Kaminari. At this rate they will defeat him, we can win. Lita. We must plan how we can give him a good welcome. Todoroki. Don't celebrate now, this isn't over yet. By saying that they saw the fight being that at one point the young man moved away only to take the whip and make it lift Guardian Bravo into the sky when he threw it, which was whipped against the floor, followed by beginning to spin with it to hit Bracer Phoenix, causing him to fall back to the floor before such a thing, followed by him jumping with the robot, causing him to end up in the air, where he ended with a blow from the young man's mallet, causing him to fall to the floor with some parts damaged, but before he could move, he ended up with Izuku's foot on his head, which was destroyed in the process. Izuku. Who's next? But that the robots began to run against him so that the young man would turn around and hit them with his tail, causing them to fall to the ground in front of the young man who only remained standing while looking at them. Boss. Interesting, he just destroyed my robot, I think he's going to want to finish off Bracer Phoenix now. Jiru. We have to do something otherwise it will destroy everything. Boss. I think so, I guess I have something that can help. He said this with a smile as he thought about some things, while elsewhere Mothra was looking at the sky thinking about some things. Mothra. It seems that Izuku may have some problems, but unfortunately he is not alone, support is approaching right now. But that he looked at the sky with a smile while in the company the robots were thrown against a wall only for Saber Athena to try to take out her swords in order to finish off the young man who was only beginning to put himself against such a thing, beginning to dodge the robot as if it were nothing. Izuku. This is truly miserable, you can't do anything against me, right now I'm going to destroy you. But that he grabbed Saber Athena's left arm only for her to end up ripping it off, followed by piercing her head with it, causing her to fall to the ground only for her to see how he approached the rest. All Might. Sir, we have to get him out of this place, it's not safe. Boss. Not yet, we're not done with him yet, we have a lot of cards that we're not using, and if you really want him again, then you have to wait longer. But that they saw how Bracer Phoenix began to launch himself against him, trying to hit the young man who began to dodge him, as if it were nothing against the same one who was keeping his distance. Izuku. Your way of fighting is very slow, it is nothing against me because you have enormous strength, but you lack speed. But that he took Bracer Phoenix to start running while dragging him across the floor, only to throw him against a wall, followed by going against him to crash into him, so he could start tearing off parts he had with his own hands, surprising everyone with such a thing, that Izuku was doing as if it were nothing to himself who only stayed that way, making that machine become nothing but garbage for. The young man who got up as if it were nothing followed by seeing the one who was left being Gypsy who was barely able to stay standing. Sato. This is bad, I can't believe he's actually just finishing them all off like it's nothing. Though Koyami. Despite everything, Izuku always shows this, that he can overcome the things around him. Jiru. I think we should be able to intervene in this fight. Boss. Wait a little longer, the best part is coming right now. But that they saw how Izuku began to advance against the robot, only for it to begin to make its hands turn into plasma cannons, that it began to fire at the young man who only began to receive such attacks against his body before such a thing. All Might. What's that made of? Boss. It's nuclear Gypsy, that's why he can't stand such a thing. Momo. But there is a problem with that. Boss. Now don't look, he's defeating him. Saying those words they saw how the young man was only receiving the shots, while Gypsy only advanced with those shots he was giving. Todoroki. Not for nothing, but he should know some things before he continues attacking. Boss. Not now, we're going to have the victory right now, you can see it. Momo. But you don't understand the problem. Boss. I don't understand. Come on, tell me. Momo. Well, Izuku feeds and grows stronger with a nuclear source. At that the man just fell silent as he watched as Gypsy was too close enough to be grabbed by the neck by Izuku, who only had a smile as he began to grab his arm to tear it off followed by a leg, causing him to fall to the floor, followed by a blow from his tail, causing it to split in half, although the robot with its remaining arm was about to try to continue its attack, only for its head to be destroyed by Izuku's foot that ended up destroying it only for it to give a roar of victory at such a thing. Boss. Well, I guess I really have to use all my cards now. He said this as he watched the young man begin to make his tail have that blue light that was going up only for him to throw that fire from his mouth, hitting the company and beginning to destroy it. Mineta. This is bad, we must leave before they come for us. Haminari. I think this is the best idea you could have had in all this time. Boss. No, I still have one card up my sleeve and I can't just walk away and accept defeat without using it all. But that they just looked at the man who had a smile at his words while he thought about finishing off the young man as he went to press a button, causing only everyone but Izuku to hear how a door began to open. The young man was destroying the company until at one point one of his hands was impossible to move because of some kind of strange but sticky fabric. Izuku. What the hell is this? At that he could only see more robots that were standing as if it were nothing. Boss. Let's see what you do with my last resources to destroy you made by being able to destroy cages being cages in their entirety. He said this while looking at the young man who was only upset about such a thing. Izuku. These machines are making me angry, I will destroy them all. But that he just started staring at them while he slowly began to free himself. Pap 6. Everyone watched as the young man stared at the machines that were slowly approaching to fight, only seeing how Mothra began to throw more of that sticky fabric, preventing the young man from being able to get out of the trap while the rest only got closer. All Might. This wasn't in the deal, you have to cancel all of this right now. Boss. I don't think so, it's obvious that we have to continue with this. All Might. But those things can kill him. Boss. And who cares about that? I know pretty well that you don't because you tried to kill him once, so let me do my job now. Everyone watched as the machines began to get closer, the Muto ones being the ones who tried to attack head-on, but before they could touch the young man, hands landed on their heads as they were slammed against the floor, followed by being thrown into the rubble. Everyone saw a young man with black hair wearing some kind of dark armor that looked intimidating with his deep yellow eyes, apart from being slanted. At one point, where Izuku was, the fabrics began to burn while a second young man with red hair descended from the sky, wearing a kind of deep red cape with a dark touch, the inside being closer to yellow. Izuku. It was about time Roden and Anguirus arrived. Roden. Let's just say we had some difficulty getting to this place, but we are here to help you. Anguirus. So these things are cheap copies of us. Roden. I think it's best if I take care of my copy, that way we'll have fewer problems. Anguirus. Besides, we need some explanations about some things, otherwise they are a problem. Izuku. The truth is that I have no problem being able to explain everything you need. He said this as they watched the machines begin to get into combat stance. Sato. What happens now? All Might. Looks like we're really going to start off with a pretty serious fight. Momo. And not only that, but they know each other, which means they are more courageous. He said this as they watched such a thing as the machines began to launch, while the group did the same only for Roden to go against his mecha, with which he collided, starting a battle in the sky, where the machine tried to cause damage to the young man of fire, who managed to keep his distance apart from dodging those attacks, until he launched himself against him to kick him, fully causing him to fall, only to go against him again, giving more blows against the machine, trying to do everything possible so that he could fall, until the machine managed to connect a hit on Roden as he began to shoot at him, causing the young man to fall to the ground but managed to get back up. Roden. Looks like we're going to have some fun at the end of it all. In another part of the fight, Anguirus managed to dodge the blows of the Mecha Muto, who at one point managed to start connecting a kick, followed by a blow to the young man, causing him to step back, something they took advantage of to continue attacking, thinking they could do enough damage, with which they began to hit the young man more, only for him to fall to the ground for such a thing. Something they took advantage of to jump and connect two kicks, causing wherever he was to be destroyed all the rubble, while with Rhoda he himself began to have difficulties with his mecha part as it managed to keep him at bay by connecting a blow, followed by kicking him, causing him to fall to the ground, seeing himself overwhelmed by that part of his. Izuku. It seems like everyone is starting to have some difficulty. I think when I finish with mine, maybe I'll help them. At one point he dodged some claws from the Skrull mecha, who still attacked the young man for a longer time, only for the Mothra mecha to interfere by throwing some of those webs, hitting the young man and his legs full on, only for him to end up immobile, while he began to receive blows from the Skrull, keeping on drawing some blood from the young man until he stopped to move away while the Mothra mecha began to entangle him. Boss. Now you can see, you can't do anything against my greatest creations, it's impossible for you to win, I have created something impossible to beat. All Might. This is not good, we must do something. Boss. I don't advise you to do that. Bakugo. What the buck are you talking about? Boss. If they try to do anything, I'll take care of eliminating them myself. Everyone was beginning to have doubts until they heard something. Izuku. Hey, this is really boring, it even makes me feel sorry. He said this as he began to tear the cloth so that she could stand up. Anguirus. It's good to stretch our legs a bit, but we'll be able to put an end to this soon. He said this as he began to thunder his fists as if it were nothing. Roden. Well, if we don't have another option, I'll feel better now that I can show what I'm capable of. Boss. What the hell are you talking about? You were just outmatched by my machines. Izuku. The same ones we'll destroy now. But that they saw how the male Mecha Muto took out a knife from his arm while he launched himself at Anguirus, trying to stab him in the chest, thinking that he would be able to do some damage, but as soon as he connected they saw how he stayed where he was without piercing him. Anguirus. Hey, if you really want to pierce someone's chest, you have to do it in a different way. I'll even teach you. Everyone saw how he took his arm and began to squeeze it, breaking it, but without tearing it off while the machine tried to get out, but at one point it ended with a blow from Anguirus himself, going through his chest without problems while he began to take it out, letting the robot fall. Izuku. Well, I guess there are no more options than to continue with all this, I better end it already. They saw how from one moment to the next the Mothra mecha tried to escape but couldn't thanks to the young man who grabbed him from the door while he slammed him against the floor where he began to step on him only for him to continue doing the same thing repeatedly without any mercy with the mecha that had no chance of escaping until with a last step he ended up with his head destroying the machine completely. Roden. Well, if everyone starts ending their fights, the right thing to do is for me to do the same. The young man dodged a blow from his mecha part to grab him by both arms so that he could begin to increase his heat, being noticed by everyone. Boss. You can't destroy it with heat, that mecha was prepared for high temperatures. Roden. Maybe that's true, but I'd like to know if he spent his time sleeping inside a volcano. He said this as he began to let out his true heat, causing them to notice how the things around him began to take on a different color. Some like rocks were redder, metals began to melt, and Rhoda's mecha was not having a good time as his arms began to melt, while he himself began to smile at this, causing him to end up falling to the floor at such a thing. Boss. This is impossible, they can destroy my best machines without any effort, impossible. Angerous. You must know something, idiot, nothing is impossible for us, we are monsters, creatures that were created by the earth to protect it from people or companies like these. He said this while holding the head of the last Muto mecha in his hands and beginning to squeeze it while the same robot tried to free itself by hitting the young man, but was unable to do anything to him until it exploded into pieces and let him fall to the floor. Izuku. That's why now you see that no one can beat us, if you want to finish off a monster you must use a second monster. They saw how he had the Skrull mecha by the neck who was trying to do something, but it was too late. From Izuku's mouth came that atomic breath to pierce his chest leaving a hole, followed by letting him fall to the floor, as if it were nothing. Boss. This can't be happening, do you really think you can prove this, you miserable monsters really want this very thing? The man watched as those monsters just kept destroying everything in their path without anyone being able to stop them. Izuku. Hey you two, I want you to go where Mothra is, I'll be there waiting for you. Broden. We're fine with that. Angerous. At least I hope we start having better things now that we're back. They saw how each one began to take a different side, Rodan began to fly, Angerous curled up into a bowl with spikes and began to leave the place on land, and Izuku could only put me in the sea as he began to leave without knowing that they had previously shot him since they left until they could leave all the chaos and silence. All Might. So this is their potential, the monsters. Sato. It's impressive. Lita. I think Izuku is on a totally different level. Bakugo. How did all this happen? Todoroki. I definitely never expected this kind of thing. Everyone watched as they left the place, causing hours to pass, as many people began to appear in the now ruined factory, while in the UA dormitories, they saw a girl on her computer. Mina. I think you're looking at your homework too much to distract yourself from what happened a moment ago, Yayoi Rozu. Jiru. I think this is new, she usually drinks tea. Momo. It's not that, I was able to do something before Izuku could get away from everyone. Ajiro. What are you talking about? Momo. I was able to shoot a tracking chip at him so we can find him. Todoroki. But Izuku is capable of letting radiation out of his body, it's literally impossible for us to find him. Momo. It may be that way, but while he was fighting and you were watching I was looking for the things necessary to be able to create a tracker and find him in time. Lita. And it's actually going to work. Momo. It's the best we have at the moment, I have no more ideas. Ajiro. I think that's true. Jiru. Then we'll have to think about finding it first, and once we do, we can think about how to get there. Momo. In fact, it's better to think about how to talk to him because those two parts are already done, I found him separately where he is in a part where we can go. He said this as he began to show how a sign was displayed in a part of the forest where the young man was, making everyone begin to get happy about this. Hap 7. Once the chaos was over, the young man could only return to his house, where he tried to do his best to relax, until he began to hear a knock on the door, with Mothra opening it with a smile, looking at the UA, although he did not know that it was them. Mothra. Are you pleased with anything? All Might. If we're looking for a guy around here if possible. Mothra. Well we have 3 boys in particular, I think you should be a little more specific. Nezu. Well, his name is Izuku, that's the person we're especially looking for if you'll allow us. At the name the girl thought for a few moments until she went to the inner part of the house. Mothra. Come in, but let the last one close the door. They did as they were told to enter, where they saw Angerous playing with Rodan on a console, while Izuku was alone on a fairly large sofa, lying down where Mothra went so she could lie down next to him and start hugging him. Izuku. Who were they, love? Mothra. Just problems that want to talk to you, nothing more than that. Izuku. I should have suspected it from the smell. He said this as he sat down to stare at the UA in front of him, trembling a little because if before his eyes were chaotic, now he only gave the appearance of being superior to the rest, something that was true. All Might. I'd like to say that it's nice to see you again. Izuku. But we both know very well that that's not true, you hate me, I hate you, we all hate each other. Nezu. I would like to apologize for how things turned out, we want you to return to the academy as soon as possible please. Izuku. They want me to return to an academy where they wanted to kill me, but they never thought that I would survive with even greater power than before. Nezu. We're sorry about that, we really want to have a way to make it up to you. Izuku. Unfortunately for you, it won't be that way. Don't think it's like apologizing, coming and that's all. There are rules that must be respected, matters that no one should interrupt, and you simply wanted to be villains. I think the right thing to do is for me to destroy you now." At one point the atmosphere began to get worse and worse, until he began to feel a hand from Mothra, making him look at her where he relaxed. "Mothra. There's no need to act like that, love. We just have to listen to what they have to say, and if we don't think it's right, then we destroy them." Izuku. "Okay, talk as soon as possible, I'm in a good mood at the moment." Nezu. "If you return to the academy we will let you have certain privileges." Izuku. "What are you talking about?" Nezu. "You will be able to come back with us, continue with the classes to become one of the heroes, but in exchange for an important detail, we want you to be able to be with us. When I say that I mean that you will put in whatever you want so that we can respect it and fulfill it." Izuku. "Well, if you want it to be that way so much then we'll do it this way. First I want a house in the UA territories. I know I can't be far from the dorms. Second, whoever bothers me I will destroy them and send them with Wreckover Girl. Third, those who are with me will go to the same class. Fourth, no one can give me orders. That is something impossible that I tell you in advance. Fifth, if a monster like the Cages appears then I myself will take charge of being able to destroy them or my allies. Any of these options should be enough for you to be able to fulfill them all." Saying all that, they remained thinking while looking at the young man in a certain way until they noticed that they were not going to have any other choice, making them sigh at such an act. Nezu. "We are fine with your deal, we will accept what you tell us without thinking too much about it. Now I would like to know if he will return now or when exactly." Izuku. "We all know that I truly hate them so much that I would rather have let them die against Gigantomachia, but out of pity, I had no choice but to save them, so let's say in a way that they were saved by luck, because I had to go against them, no matter what, by interrupting the natural order. Therefore when they have that house ready, we will start with everything, otherwise there is no way I will do it." Nezu. "Then we will start preparing things right now if you allow us to go." All Might. "Young Kirishima, young Kaminari, leave that and come back with us." Saying that, everyone looked, even Izuku himself was surprised to see in record time how the four of them were playing between them in a fighting game. Kaminari. "Come on, we have to win this first." Kirishima. "It's important, it's the Cages against the humans, we must beat them." Broden. "Miserable, I don't understand why the hell they are good at playing, but not good enough to beat us." Kirishima. "Time, sweat, dedication and games, lots of games." Angerus. "Well, we won't let them beat us. We were good enough to let some mere humans beat us." Izuku. "I'll send them to you in a while, in the meantime you can leave this place, I have no importance in you." But that they had no choice but to leave, well the young man could only wait for them to finish playing, or as they said, an epic battle between the monster and the man. Being that in truth they were doing everything possible to do that very thing until they finished, so that they would leave the place, well the boy only stood on his balcony looking at the night, while Mothra came from behind to give him a kiss. Mothra. "What are you thinking?" Izuku. "Nothing, they're just things of little importance." Mothra. "I know you better than anyone in this place, we both know well that there is a matter of extreme importance which you do not want to reveal in any way." Izuku. "Well, what really happens is that I was thinking about the facts, and to be honest I don't know if I'm really capable of facing all this, especially if any of them were to wake up if possible." Mothra. "You're talking about the evil Cages. Well, I don't think they're a problem. You know that better than anyone. You could always defeat all of them without much effort. You even showed what you're capable of doing." Izuku. "It's not that, but it's because of you. I remember well how in my last battle against King Ghidorah, or well before they put him in one of my classes but much more robotic, he killed you, only in that way I was able to defeat him, and to be honest, I don't want to go through the same thing again as before." The girl just started to grab his cheek to make him stare at her, while giving her a very tender smile. Mothra. "You don't have to worry about those details, you were always there to protect humanity and the earth. If you were capable of doing all that, you are capable of doing much more, and we both know those details very well." Izuku. "I know, but I still don't think I'll be able to face that fact again, losing you like it happened before. It really is a very important matter that I never considered before, but now that I've managed to understand that all my enemies will return, it means that they will try to destroy everything I love, that includes you." Mothra. "We all know it's not going to be that way, we know quite well and better than anyone that in the end you'll be able to recover and be capable of many other things. It's not for nothing that you're the king of the monsters, the one who rules above all, being capable of even destroying everything in his path." The young man just smiled at that as he took her by the waist. Izuku. "Thanks for that, I'll keep it in mind for the rest of my life as much more than that." He said this while giving her a hug around the waist to give her a kiss, which she accepted in the same way, while on the other side, there were some idiots doing worse things. Lita. "Then it is confirmed we must make sure that Izuku can be with us, and therefore in order to apologize, we need to have a welcome party." Mina. It's true, with a party everyone is much better, surely he will cheer up, he will notice that we are sorry, and then he will forgive us, there is no doubt about that. Jiru? Are you idiots? That's not going to happen, you heard right. Just because Gigantomachia and the Nomus affected the natural order is because he wanted to interfere in the battle, but if it weren't for that, he would have let us die. Ajiro. But we must find a way to have some of his forgiveness. It really seems that he must return to us. Momo. If you want to do that, then think better, a party will not help at all because it is not going to happen from one moment to the next, this takes time, and it is better that you leave it alone. Saying that, they saw how they began to think, making them believe that their prayers were finally heard. They managed to think a little more, but what came next was actually worse. Lita. It's true that one party won't be enough, we have to throw more parties all the time. With that, the two girls hit each other in the face for such an action by the president of their class. Sato. I have to prepare a lot of sweets for that, I'm sure that way she'll be able to forgive us, and that'll make her come back. Mina. We have to make it so that it can be quite fun in some way. Hoda. With many animals. Uraraka. Apart from that, we will be able to get closer to him, it will undoubtedly be the best plan we have had in years. With that, some began to walk out of the arcade, still not believing they were so stupid for doing so. Jiru. I never thought it would get to that point. Momo. They're all going to end up pretty badly, I guess we just have no choice but to continue on our own. Hiroshima. Well, if it helps, I think we became friends with Izuku's friends, I think that leaves a bit of trust. Kaminari. We actually became enemies. Hiroshima. Yes, that's right. Jiru. How did they become enemies? That doesn't make sense. Hiroshima. It's just that our games ended in a draw, and so we have no choice but to try to get revenge as late as possible. Kaminari. This is unforgivable, we can't let them beat us, we will win and make it clear that humanity is superior in at least one thing above the cages. Jiru. I don't know if this plan is going to end well or badly, to be honest, I don't even know how all this will end. Momo. Let's just try to continue on our own as much as possible, we'll let them do what they want in the meantime, let's try to think of a way to apologize to Izuku, otherwise we'll really end up pretty bad. Jiru. That's true, I think there's no other choice. He said this as they walked while in another place inside the ice where there was a three-headed creature that was talking in his mind. Man. I think our rival has finally returned, my brothers, we must fight against the one who becomes the reincarnation of Godzilla as soon as possible, and in that way make this planet have our appearance by being the new kings of this world. He said this as he looked at the other two figures standing in the shadows with a smile. Hap 8. At the UA Academy everyone was attentive to a certain matter, and it was about the return of the strongest student of all, it was Izuku Midoriya, apart from coming with some new people being Roden. Angerus and Mothra who accompanied him without any problem being that they were in this way until they reached Class A, although the young king of the monsters was not happy to be able to see them all like that. Izuku. I really hate this place completely. Mothra. Calm down, you don't have to act like that right now, it's just for a while until we get used to it again. Izuku. Say it for yourself, you can find goodness like kindness in every human being unlike me has already managed to see all the bad parts of them. Mothra. Just one chance, nothing more than that. Izuku. It's okay, just for a while, nothing more than that. Mothra. That's the way it is spoken, now let's just take a seat. Roden. How much does it end up destroying everything in just about 2 seconds? Angerus. For me, 5 will be enough. The two began to shake hands in a way to make it clear that they completely closed the deal. For Izuku's part, he walked next to Mothra who had a smile until they saw how in front of him was Lita himself, who was nervous about having the young man in front of him. Izuku. Now what do you want? Lita. I'm really sorry about what happened before, I really wish I had the chance to start over with you. Izuku. What the hell are you talking about? You better be clear because I'm really in a bad mood right now. Lita. I'm just saying that I'd like to have a new beginning with you really, a way to be able to talk to you again, to be honest, to be friends again like the thing was before really if you really want to. He said this as he began to show his hand in a friendly manner to the young man who looked at this as if it were nothing to him, while the whole class had doubts about what was going to happen, on the side of the traitors, if he was really going to do it, and on the side of the cages, they already imagined how things were going to continue being. The young man went on to shake the hand of the runner who was beginning to look relieved. Hiroshima. I actually managed to forgive him. Kaminari. I never imagined I'd see this kind of thing, to be honest. Momo. But there's something strange about all this from what I can see. Lita. I'm really glad you've forgiven me, Izuku, I'm really glad to be your friend again, but you're starting to squeeze a little too hard, to be honest. Each time he managed to feel how the young man's grip began to get stronger little by little, as if it were nothing to him who appeared calm despite everything little by little, until at one moment, he began to kneel before Izuku himself, who only appeared superior to the rest of the students present. Izuku. Let's get things straight, we will never go back to what we were before, you tried to kill me without any mercy, and for you to try to come back into my life like that as if it were nothing, to be honest it really is disrespectful, don't think that simply apologizing won't work, you miserable scum. All the rest I hope you understand about this type of things, because really don't think it's such a calm thing, we can even make it clear that no one will approach me if they don't want to be killed. But that he managed to release him so he could continue on his way while he began to relax, thanks to the touches of Mothra who began to calm him down little by little, and Rodin for his part was giving money to Angerus, who had a smile for that very reason, so they could take a seat in the back of the place, as if it were nothing to them who were quite completely calm until the professor entered the place. Izawa. I can see that everyone is here, I should be able to ask the new ones if they can be able to introduce themselves as much as possible, now that we are all together. Rodin. For my part it is a pleasure, my name is Rodin, a being that is capable of withstanding lava itself in large quantities as well as flying, I am known as the firebird of my time where I come from, I like video games, in the same way I have some like food among them. Angerus. I am Angerus, a ground kaiju being one of the strongest in all his ways, and being Izuku's second strongest ally in all his ways. Izuku. You are actually the second most loyal of all. Angerus. Don't ruin my presentations, there must always be something like this type of thing like yours that ends up helping him completely. Izuku. I hope so. Mothra. Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be able to meet you completely, I am Mothra, Izuku's current girlfriend, and I am the most loyal person to him, therefore whoever tries to get him out of me better understand a few things, first that I can only share him, and second that I will only do it with people who truly love him as I love him completely. Nothing more than that I intend to make clear to you for the moment. At such a thing, he only let out a murderous aura from within him, making them have no choice but to feel a little afraid of what they were seeing, since his smile only managed to make things worse for them. Rodin. If you want some advice, it is that you really shouldn't try to do anything about it against him, because when he says he's going to kill, he's going to do it. Angerus. I don't even remember the last time he almost completely murdered all of us, because we simply wished we could pass through his territories destroying some trees. Izawa. Well, we can start classes right now. He said this while giving a small glance directly at Izuku himself who was serious, making it clear that he did not intend to say anything about it, therefore they started classes without saying anything more than that in order to start with some special things, since in truth Izuku was hungry and it was time to eat, therefore everyone was in the cafeteria, where each one managed to take a table where they could hang out while some people were staring at Izuku's group who were calm. Rodin. The food isn't that great, but we can't complain either. Angerus. Actually, to be honest, I don't really like this kind of thing very much. Rodin. It's true, we can't do much, but I don't understand why we actually accepted this kind of things. Izuku. I already explained it to you, so try to avoid things because I really don't want to get into trouble for the moment, because we have to stay calm. Angerus. Even if you say that kind of thing, I don't think that even our great king is capable of fulfilling it, because things will soon end for a long time. Saying that, they noticed how classes were slowly approaching, or at least some of them at the same time. Uraraka. Hello, it seems that you are not very busy at the moment. Izuku. I'll be direct, you didn't come for nothing just like the rest of the clowns for nothing, we all know that quite well. Uraraka. Well, to tell you some things, I actually heard how your girlfriend really says that she agrees to share you with the people who love you, therefore I came to be able to claim at least a part of you. Mothra. Sorry, but I can't understand you to be honest. Uraraka. It's pretty obvious, I mean we can actually share it, since it's completely ours. Mothra. I'm afraid not, in fact it only belongs to me. Uraraka. What did you say? You were supposed to have said something else in the middle of class. Mothra. Exactly, I said the same thing completely, I can share it, but only with people who truly love him unlike you who turned your back on him, were unfaithful to him, and completely more things that are really too many to be honest, that is why I must tell you that I do not accept this type of things with you. Uraraka. Come on, it's just about being able to share it, nothing more than that. Mothra. Of course not, I can't let you have something that truly belongs to me, and you don't plan on valuing it in any way, but rather you might ruin it. Uraraka. You will be one. Monoma. Hey, honey, if we think about it, you're saying that you can share your boyfriend, but that means that he is actually capable of doing the same thing with you, being able to share you completely. Mothra. Nothing like that, I only plan to be with Izuku, with no one but him, so don't think about getting into this kind of things, to be honest. Monoma. Come on, I can't see what bad could happen with this kind of thing. Mothra. I already told you no, so it might be a huge favor if you just left once and for all. Monoma. Come on, no one says no to the great and almighty Monoma completely. He couldn't continue because he tried to touch Mothra, but instead of being able to do that he could only feel a secondary hand, Izuku's being the same one that was holding his, but in a different way since little by little he was applying force, squeezing Monoma's hand, making him feel pain little by little, so that he could kneel. Izuku. Hey idiot, listen to this pretty well you miserable scum, you are not worthy of being able to get into this kind of things to be honest, do not get involved in my life again, or try to touch Mothra if you do not want to end up dead in one way or another, because I do not intend to have mercy on scum like you. Although if I dare to eat you I think I will get a digestive problem, therefore I better think twice because I do not like to eat complete garbage. Saying that, she simply let him go, making him back away from such a thing, so that he could hold her hand while looking angrily at Izuku himself who was calm despite everything. Monoma. Wretch, you dared to hurt me, and now you will pay for it. When he tried to advance against Izuku himself who was hugging him with one arm, but before he could do anything to them, they witnessed Haruden and Anjura stood in front of him, showing a little anger. Broden. If you really want to mess with the king of the monsters you must first face the others. Monoma. What are you talking about? Dangerous. You simply must be able to learn that you truly cannot confront the king of the mountain when you have to start fighting against those at the foot of the mountain and you are not up to the task, therefore it is better that you do not mess with us if you truly wish to stand firm. Saying that they simply heard the bell ring for the group of monsters to begin to leave the place, walking before a very angry Monoma, although he was beginning to feel afraid of the slight presence that Izuku himself was beginning to let out of his body, as if it were nothing. Hap 9. In one part of the city, the League of Villains was walking around as if nothing were happening without any problems, well they just kept their thoughts on other things, having the problem that now, literally, having a monster on the loose that was after them, was not going to be easy at all. Abi. I don't get it, we just have to take care of that miserable monster once and for all. Tamura. It's not going to be easy, I could see, as you all can't see, the power he truly possesses, and to be honest, it's fearsome. Abi. So what? He must have some weakness, at least one thing. Tamura. Don't try to rush too far into those facts because it's going to be impossible to know anything about it until we have any idea what we're fighting against. Toga. It's a shame we can't actually use the frozen Arctic monster. At the girl's words they just stared at her at such a fact. Tamura. What did you say? Toga. About a monster we can't use. Abi. I think it's better if you can explain a little more about what's going on because you literally said something about one being frozen. Toga. It seems that the reporters were faster than the world security people and found a monster that is in the Arctic. It is something that really raises doubts because it is very scary just by looking at it, but they do not allow it to be recorded or end up taking any photos. Abi. Then it's an opportunity. Toga. What do you mean? Abi. This is our chance to fight that bastard. Tamura. That's right, Izuku clearly doesn't lock up any monster that's from this planet as if it were nothing, which means they could be enemies, not to mention that in the place where you say he is normally located, our radars who managed to find out where his path was always end up passing through that place despite many other paths. Abi. We have to pay them a little visit if we really want to take into account what's going on in that place, although it's going to be a problem if there are heroes there. Tamura. There won't be a problem as long as we have someone who can take over someone's body. At that they looked at Toga while she couldn't understand exactly the plans of the two villains. On the other hand, at the academy, Izuku was at the top of it, staring fixedly in one direction, as if he were attentive to any movement until he began to hear something. Broden. Hey Izuku, you better come down a bit, we have something called classes, and even though I don't want to go we have to. Izuku. Yes, I'm going right now. The young man managed to get down, staying next to his friend as they began to walk. Broden. You find yourself watching that bastard again, it seems. Izuku. I can't help but do it, we know very well that Ghidorah is someone very dangerous, if he were to escape then all of us, but literally all of us will be in great danger. Broden. I think you should be able to talk about these things with Mothra, if you keep watching that monster like this, then you're going to end up worrying her. Izuku. I guess so, I won't have any other option but to do it, but I can't stay calm, I have a very bad feeling, and I only managed to have these kinds of feelings when he was free everywhere, although it doesn't make sense because he's in the ice, it's going to be impossible for him to be able to escape from that place, and as long as no one tries to free him everything will be better. Broden. I know very well, I received one of your rays a long time ago, and I certainly did not like that type of attack, and I would not like to receive it again. Izuku. Don't even say it, I don't want Mothra to be anywhere near all this either, she spent too much of her life, and now she's in danger of not being able to come back to life in any possible way. Broden. This is getting worse than I thought. The two of them walked to be able to continue with their classes as they normally were, but as time passed in the Arctic, they found a military base with some parts destroyed by fire at different points, while at the same time the bodies of burned guards, others destroyed and to finish with dust everywhere, were found in each hallway, while in front of a huge ice figure, where a monster was inside. The villains only tried to see it part by part. Tamura. It's definitely beautiful. Abi. He's pretty scary when he's loose and gives his first roars, although I have to admit that he's seriously not very impressive when he's frozen. Toga. From what I managed to find, like hearing about the dishes, it says that this monster is not from the earth. Tamura. What do you mean? Toga. From what these portraits say, as well as other parts that they managed to translate, they say that a star came down from the sky where this monster came from. In a few words, that clearly means that it is not a being that was created by our planet as it normally is. Tamura. What does that matter? What really matters is that we are now in a perfect position to free him, and with him on our side, we can take control of everything. Toga. What will we do if that thing really takes control of everything after finishing off Izuku? Because we can't be sure that it's really on our side. Tamura. We'll have to take advantage of this opportunity to attack him when he's completely weak. Abi. It's better that they decide at once because more heroes are arriving in this area and we won't be able to fight them all, not to mention that we have no way to escape completely. Tamura. Maybe, but now is the time where we will let a real monster fight another real monster. He said this as he began to use his quirk on the ice, while Dabi began to use his flames on the other hand, causing the ice structure to break little by little, as if it were nothing at all for the villains. Back at UA in the dorms, Izuku was with Mothra while they were still thinking about the events that were happening. Mothra. I still can't believe it. Izuku. What exactly? Mothra. Despite everything we've been through in our lives, we can literally now live in peace, so to speak. We're in an area where the threats to all of them aren't that big, and little by little, people are stopping polluting the world as they usually do. Izuku. I hope it stays that way because I won't be able to stand them trying to destroy my world. At what the young man said, the girl could only smile as she went to give him a kiss on the cheek, causing him to blush slightly. Mothra. You better relax a little, you can't really keep an eye on things all the time. It's true that this world is currently in some parts destroyed, but it still has hope of recovering, people are starting to collaborate with us, and the best thing is that we rest a little. Izuku. But I can't do it, the enemies that are outside, the other cages that must stay in their area, it will be impossible to do anything about it. Mothra. I know very well, but you have others who can help you. Angerus and Rodin stayed with you for a long time by your side to be able to understand what they should do in case an emergency occurs where only they are capable of taking care of everything. Izuku. I guess that's true, maybe I worry too much about nothing. At the end of the day the other monsters know that I'm their king as well as they know that they can't face me, at least that kind of thing is something good that they were understanding. Mothra. You're seeing things better now we just have to think about our vacation, because if we're really going to make you feel calm, then the best thing we can do is take a vacation somewhere. Izuku. I don't think it's possible while I have UA after me all the time, not to mention the League of Villains. Mothra. It's just a vacation, I don't understand the worst that can happen. Izuku. They tried to leave me and the entire city was destroyed. Mothra. They were just small details. The girl gave him a smile while the young man could only let out a sigh as he thought a little about everything she said. Izuku. Okay, for now we're just going to do that, I just hope it doesn't end in a big disaster. Mothra. Much better. But that alone he was able to hug his king while giving him a kiss. On the other hand, the ice was filled with a huge hole, people torn apart, cut in half, others who were roasted, or there was nothing left of them due to a yellow electricity that ran through the place where Dabi and Toga were unconscious, while Tamura, let's say, was being held by the neck by a man who was just lying there as if nothing had happened, regenerating some wounds. Man. You woke me up from my eternal sleep as a thank you. I won't kill you for the moment, but maybe your friends will. Tamura. Wait a moment, I want to talk, we both want to destroy the same king. At the word king, the grip on his neck tightened, making it less likely that he would be able to speak. Man. You better be careful with your words because I'm not someone who takes everything that is said to me well. Tamura. I understand, but it caused me problems, I'm sure it caused you problems, look. Then I handed him a photo, which the man looked at in detail as if it were nothing. Tamura. Currently calling himself Izuku, this is your chance to claim the throne. Man. It seems that you can be very useful to me. But that he let Tamura go as he walked a little and looked at the photo with a smile, while outside a huge electrical storm began to form little by little. Chap 10. Inside the academy everything was quiet, even though they didn't stop bothering Izuku. He was just looking for a little peace without the need to have problems where even the only thing that managed to keep him certainly at peace was being able to lie on Mothra's lap as they were now on the roof of the academy. Mothra. It seems like it's a beautiful day today, don't you think? The young man just nodded his head while the girl just stroked his head. Mothra. Hey Izuku, it's good to see that you have no problem staying at this academy. Izuku. I'm only doing this for the simple fact that these idiots aren't able to leave me alone. Mothra. Maybe, but anyway you made the decision to avoid killing more people as much as possible. Izuku. As long as they don't harm the planet again, everything will remain peaceful, otherwise it would be the end of them. Mothra. Maybe. He just kept a smile as he looked at the young man. Mothra. Tell me, what's wrong with you now? You haven't been calm for a while now, as if something was bothering you. Izuku. It's nothing important, I just can't help but feel like there's something wrong, it's a feeling that there's something out of place, and it should be fixed as soon as possible, that bothers me a lot. The girl then settled down a little, causing the young man to open his eyes, seeing the beautiful face of Mothra in front of him, who kept smiling as she approached him little by little. Mothra. We can think about that another time, now we need to think a little more about ourselves. He went to take his cheeks to want to kiss him, while the young man accepted in the same way before the area ended up exploding, causing Izuku to be at the bottom of the place, who had the girl in his arms. Izuku. I had to imagine it seems like we'll have a lot of problems from now on. Mothra. But I thought I'd never be able to get out again. Izuku. Clearly he managed to do it after the earth suffered from heating, otherwise Ghidorah would not have come out. They watched as a blonde being in golden armor bowed before them with a smile. Ghidorah. It's been a while since I saw you, my old rival, even though I heard they call you Izuku. Izuku. That's right, I hope you don't have problems with that piece of trash, I don't like being interrupted when I'm with Mothra. Ghidorah. Then I hope you don't mind this. I stand in front of the young man to grab him by the neck and take him into the forest, beginning to destroy parts of it without any mercy. Mothra. I don't understand where is Anguirus or Rodan. He just wanted to follow those two where the young man went on to take Ghidorah's face, before being able to change roles causing Izuku to now leave Ghidorah on the ground before hitting him, causing him to break some rocks. Izuku. I have no idea how you managed to escape, but you're definitely going to be in a very bad state once I'm done with you. Ghidorah. As always, you talk a lot, but you are not able to confront me. He jumped against the young man, causing him to barely be able to dodge it, although Ghidorah was not very lucky, as he received a kick to the stomach before a shower of blows that sent him up, where the young man appeared to hit him with an atomic breath, so that he ended up on the floor. Ghidorah. This is impossible, I can't lose in such a simple way against this miserable wretch. Izuku. That's the problem, you have no idea about the person you're dealing with, I'm someone completely different from what you faced millions of years ago. Ghidorah. That doesn't matter because I can finish you off right now. Izuku. Well you dream about that, I'll make sure you never come back. He was preparing to attack, but ended up receiving a kick in the face where he was barely able to stay standing and managed to see another blonde guy in golden armor. Izuku. What? Two Ghidorahs. Ghidorah. You have no idea of the truth by the looks of it. At that moment a third man in golden armor appeared on the scene. Ghidorah. You faced Kevin, the most idiotic of the three of us, then Sen is the one who faced Rodan and I am Ichi, the central head who managed to defeat Anguirus. Izuku. That explains the reason why they are not here. Ichi. Exactly, right now you are going to face us three at the same time, once we all fight together you can know us as King Ghidorah. I went to see how they were preparing to get me to raise my guard. Izuku. This is really bad, it seems like I'm going to have a harder time than usual. The three of them launched themselves at the same time, where they managed to block attacks from Kevin and San, but they failed to avoid a direct hit from Ichi, causing him to fly away, where they did not stop and went against him, starting combined attacks from different points towards the young man's body, who was barely able to maintain the fight. Izuku. It really seems like it won't be that simple, it's even going to be more complicated for me than usual. He went on to dodge some direct attacks, allowing him to momentarily grab Kevin's face and throw him to the ground, followed by landing a direct hit on Ichi, only to be attacked by a direct beam from San, causing him to end up on the floor where he had no choice but to dodge a large number of beams from the ladder until he was able to get to the front of him and land a direct hit that San was able to block, but the young man wasn't very lucky as he was attacked from the other end by the two brothers. Not far from the area was part of the class, heading straight to the site of the fight. All Might. So you say that it is an old enemy who is looking for young Izuku, right? Mothra. Yes. Kirishima. At the same time you said that it's separated into 3 parts to be able to fight against it, that means that it is in serious trouble, and we must help it. Mothra, we can't do such a thing. All Might. What are you talking about? Mothra. If the other titans see that he is receiving help in the battle from you, they will attack you, or they simply will not be able to see Izuku as a worthy alpha that they can follow, and that will only make them want to destroy everything in their path, and this time Izuku will not have their support. Izawa. That means he is alone in combat. Mothra. Exactly, we don't really have many opportunities. All Might. That could be very bad then. Mothra. A little, but if you really want to keep something in mind is that Izuku must use all his power, otherwise he will be in serious trouble. They saw how the young man was thrown towards a certain part of the abandoned city where there was nothing and no one, causing the young man to slowly get up from under some rubble in that area of the fight. Izuku. That really hurt me too much. He went on to receive a direct shock from Ghidorah where he wanted to continue attacking, but he collided with Izuku's breath where they maintained a battle of power until the other two joined forces to increase the power of the attack, causing it to collide directly with the young man's body so that he would be in a worse state. Ichi. You better give up, in the end you have no chance of beating us. San. Even our power begins to increase with this storm. Little by little a storm began to form above the young man where he was barely able to get up, and he began to receive continuous attacks from his opponents, who did not stop massacring the young man's body until they reached a point where they took him and began to fly upwards directly, where little by little they entered the storm, where they even made the rays go towards their bodies so that they would become stronger, something that was not good for the young man who received those discharges directly in his body until they reached a point where they were above the clouds. Ichi. I hope you have a good landing. They went on to release it and then hit it with their rays, making their deck even more aggressive than before, where even from a distance they noticed something coming down from the sky wrapped in fire. Bakugo. Is that an attack? Mothra. No, Izuku. He flew directly towards the area where the rest saw how the young man's body fell directly to the ground, creating a crater with him having large wounds on his body, but especially his chest, which had a large amount of blood coming out. Tap 11. At that moment the young man ended up hitting the ground with his body, having large wounds inside the crater he was in, and he could only get up little by little, spitting blood. Izuku. Shit, I didn't think these guys could actually do this. He just wanted to get up, but instead of being able to do so, lightning bolts came from the sky from 3 different points, making it impossible for the young man to avoid them, causing him to suffer great damage from the impact. Heaven, look brothers, it looks like we can beat him. San. That's what you get for taking us all on at the same time. Ichi. I can say the same, but don't get too confident, remember that this bastard still has the chance to get up. San. Please, you say it as if I'm actually capable of doing it when really. I couldn't finish speaking after receiving a full attack in my face from the young man who was quite tired. Izuku. I think you can't be completely confident I can still stand up. San. This wretch. Ichi. You can calm down, in the end remember that he can't do anything to us. He just went on to launch an attack towards the young man who was unable to dodge it, causing him to end up on the floor because of that. Heaven. Yeah, we can take him down. Before he could do anything, Anguirus grabbed him by the foot and threw him towards a mountain. Anguirus, I'm still alive, you bucking crazy deranged piece of shit. He just walked towards it in the form of a sphere before the eyes of his brothers. San. These guys are so annoying, I have to finish them all off. When he wanted to launch an attack towards Anguirus himself, he was immediately rammed from the air by another one, causing him to start crashing into some trees. Broden. Don't even think I can let you do this kind of thing, to be honest, I never liked you as a possible king of the monsters. San. I'm going to make you eat your words. Broden. I'd like to see it. They could only begin to leave great destruction, while Ichi watched as on one side they left a trail of flames and on the other a trail of dirt everywhere, making him sigh at such a thing. Ichi. There are always troubles, who would be my trouble? And that he managed to dodge a direct attack coming from Mothra with a kind of daggers where she tried to cut him, but Ichi himself managed to dodge it. Mothra, the title of king does not belong to you, you must give it up at all costs. Ichi. I think you think too much of yourself in front of me, but I don't blame you. In the end, I plan to finish you off because you are part of the trail that symbolizes the ancient king. Mothra. Well, you won't be able to do it. When he wanted to give another cut at the same time to dodge it before connecting a direct blow to her stomach that knocked the wind out of the girl who tried to follow, but won a blow that made her crawl on the floor only for her to get up little by little before it. Izuku watched the fight from afar, so he tried to get up, although he was not successful. Izuku. My best friends fight without me, I have to help them. Kirishima. Well then, we're here to give you a hand. Izuku. What the hell are you doing in this place? Momo. Isn't it obvious? Help you. Izuku. Don't be joking right now, I have to take care of all this by myself. Melissa. Well then we can't let you go until we can give you something else. He said this as he passed by behind him, pointing a cannon at him. Izuku. What do you plan to do with that? Melissa. We can give you a huge dose of nuclear radiation and then we can save your life and at least give you back all your strength. Izuku. I think it will work a little. Sato. How much charge should we use? Melissa. I have no idea, let's try to use half. Izuku. Better use all. Melissa. What do you mean? Izuku. The more radiation my body has, the more strength I can have, so you better use it all. The girl just ignored him and began to give the young man radiation, while the fights between the three were not going well. On one hand, Anguirus was injured with pieces of his armor destroyed in front of Kevin who had a smile. Kevin, what's wrong? Don't tell me you got bored of playing. Anguirus. Idiot, I can't give up right now. Kevin. That's the desire, you better keep playing with me. He proceeded to punch the same guy in the stomach, causing him to spit out blood before flying away, making him look at his fist for such a thing. Kevin. I think it broke well, it doesn't matter, I hope Godzilla can still play a little longer. He just walked away from the place while on the other end, Rodin was having similar problems. San. And you make yourself known as the king of heaven. What a loser. Rodin. That's because you didn't see anything of me. San. You're only faster, but you're actually hundreds of times weaker, you damn loser. Rodin. I don't think I have any choice but to show you what I can do. He wanted to attack San himself, who managed to grab him by the face to take him to the top of the clouds, where he managed to let all the electricity hit both of their bodies, causing Rodin to give a heartbreaking cry of pain, where he finally let him fall to the ground. Again with Mothra, she was quite hurt while Ichi only approached her. Izuku. Damn, am I done? Melissa. Yes, I'm done, but I don't see that you've recovered. Izuku. My body needs a little time to recover and be able to make me fight once more, but in the meantime I'll take care of the rest. He just went towards the fight where Mothra was already more hurt. Ichi. What were you planning to do by attacking me like that? Mothra. Buy the king some time. Ichi. The king. At that point an attack almost hit his body, causing him to dodge it, and the three of them were together again, looking at the tired young man. Izuku. Remember who the hell your opponent is. Ichi. We better finish this idiot once and for all. San. I think the same. Kevin. Finally, I was starting to get bored of this. They only aimed their attacks at Izuku, who was thinking of counterattacking in some way, but at the moment of launching his attacks, the young man was only waiting to be pushed back, where the last thing he saw was Mothra giving him a tender smile, leaving him surprised by such a thing that the girl was doing at that moment. Everyone saw a huge explosion, making everyone worried about them except three people. San. At last, it's all over. Kevin. Now we can say that we are the kings of the world, right? San. It seems so, now we can be safe with all this. Ichi. Until I see the body of that bastard, I don't think I can leave. Kevin. Come on bro, you're exaggerating a bit. San. That idiot Kevin is telling the truth, he can't really be alive. Ichi just looked at him to make sure he was safe while the UA people started running away from the place. Kirishima. Why are we leaving? Melissa. My radiation system says this place is not safe at all, so we better get out as soon as possible. On the other hand, the brothers were waiting calmly. Kevin. Hey, don't you feel like it's very hot? San. A little, but it shouldn't be anything. Kevin. Are you sure? I feel like I'm melting. Ichi just stared at everyone until he found an answer. Ichi. That bastard is still alive. From the same smoke began to disperse as a quite different Izuku was found with marks on his body, white hair as a large amount of heat came out of his body. San. Why is he still alive? Kevin. Come on, we just have to attack it together and problem solved. San. Well that's true, we just have to do that. They were preparing themselves little by little, but from one second to the next, Izuku found himself with his fist piercing Kevin's abdomen, where for the brothers, it was as if everything that was happening was in slow motion, while they looked little by little in that direction. Again, as if time had returned to a normal state, they crashed into a mountain where the young man lifted Kevin with his arms still piercing his chest for such a thing. Kevin. How? He could only spit blood, but Izuku managed to cut off his head with his other arm, sending it flying before using that heat to make the rest of Kevin's body disappear before the eyes of his brothers, who were surprised. San. How did he do that? Ichi. This can't be good. San. Of course not, because I plan to kill him. He immediately launched himself without his brother being able to stop him, so that when he arrived, just by hitting Izuku's face, he felt a great heat in his hand, causing him to retreat, but as if it were a bomb, San's hand managed to explode because of such a thing. San. Damn, I don't understand, how can you do this? He wanted to attack again, but Izuku only needed to open his hand to release a large amount of radiation and pure heat that managed to disintegrate San's body once and for all. Itchy. It's worse than I thought, this guy is thinking about finishing off everyone. I notice how she was looking at him now, making him afraid of such a thing, as long as it was only a matter of seconds that he was with his face on the floor, being dragged by Izuku everywhere, where he simply wouldn't let go to the point of throwing him far away, where with one jump he managed to get to him, where he gave him a blow with his mallet that sent him to an island where no one could bother him. As soon as he arrived, Itchy's body managed to remain nailed to the floor, as if he could do nothing about what was happening. Itchy. I have to escape, I can't stay in this place. He wanted to escape, but a blow from Izuku managed to put him on the ground, destroying his armor completely, while he managed to spit out a huge amount of blood, where he again received a kick that made him reach the center of the island. Itchy. This guy will kill me, I can't stay if I really want to live. He just wanted to be able to escape, so that in the end he barely got his wings out, and they ended up being cut off by Izuku in order to hear his screams of pain, but they were not enough as he released a large amount of heat that surrounded the entire place. Itchy. Damn, I don't know who you think you are, but now I'm going to finish you off whether you like it or not. He wanted to hit the young man with a fist that had an enormous charge of electricity, but the same thing happened to be disintegrated, surprising Itchy from such a thing, getting to step back while watching how he was left without the same arm, but he only got angry, so that he tried to go with his other arm, but it ended up being the same result, surprising him. Izuku let out more of his radiation, causing Itchy to step back, crashing into some rocks without being able to move, so that the young man ended up in front of him more and more to the point of being centimeters away from him. Izuku. I'm the king you should never have made angry. He just happened to hit Itchy's chest, causing him to start giving a heart-rending scream of pain, while the last thing people could see from that point was a huge glow that managed to cover everything. Chap 12. Since what happened with King Ghidorah, the same class as well as the entire UA began to notice a certain strange part of the young man, with Izuku being increasingly distant, making it impossible to find him with a little time for people or simply some life to be able to rest. Lately, the entire class found itself in front of their friends, who seemed quite carefree. Momo. Then let me see if I can understand you. You say that you don't really care what's happening to Izuku, right? Dangerous. In a way. Todoroki. Why? He's supposed to be your friend, and it seems like he's not really okay anymore. Rodin. He is our friend, but at the same time he becomes our king after the death of Ghidorah. We take into account that after what happened with Mothra he is currently in bad shape, but being the king of all the titans that are walking on earth, he basically has no other option than to show strength in front of all of them, which is why we cannot stop him. Dangerous. Not to mention that as the king he must be in charge of maintaining a natural order. If we try to intervene with this kind of things, I can say that he will end up killing us. It can be said that he is taking his main role as protector of the planet a little more seriously by having to make his presence felt everywhere. Rodin. Not to mention that something strange has happened lately. Kirishima. What do you mean, strange? Rodin. Well, it seems that there is a kind of energy that is not at all good for this planet, and we have no idea where that energy may come from, and to top it off, it is increasingly disturbing Izuku more and more, and to be honest, we do not want to know exactly what this energy could be about. At one point Melissa happened to receive a message from Director Nezu as her uncle, causing her to see part of it, where she began to cover her mouth because of what she saw. Haminari. What's happening now? Mina. It seems like something very bad. Melissa. Now it's about Izuku. Mina. What happened to him now? Melissa. I'm told that they found him destroying different parts of some power plants without any mercy, and it's not just one but several. Rodin. There you have it. Bakugo. What the buck are you talking about? Rodin. The energy that is not at all natural on this planet, like the call of another alpha, is found around this place, and those power plants she mentions must have something to do with this whole matter. Surely Izuku takes it as a challenge between two alphas and reciprocates by destroying what would be like their territories of the thing that is altering him. Momo. But Izuku should be the only alpha nowadays. Dangerous. In fact, there are more alphas, but as far as we know there should be two on this plane. Rodin. That means there might possibly be a third one. They spoke with their doubts about the Hollow Earth and where they were today, without giving many explanations to the class. On a ship were the League of Villains, quite worried to know that they were in Izuku's territories, or at least on the limits of them without touching them completely, since others were quite calm. Spinner. I don't like knowing that they can attack us at any moment. Tamura. You should relax a little more, even though we are possibly close to Izuku we can know that we really won't have any worries. Abi. Although there is a possibility that we may or may not be sure, I can only wait for your plan to actually work. Tamura. Well, I can be completely sure that if we continue like this, we will be able to have everything we need in the end. Abi. But remember that boy defeated a monster that, to make matters worse, was being only 3 against 1, and despite that he won. Tamura. I take that into account, but we also have a secret weapon with which we can defend ourselves. He said this while looking at a huge shed they had on top of the boat. After a while they managed to notice something. Dobby. It seems that the radars managed to capture something. Toga. Could they be the heroes? Dobby. I don't think so, it looks too big to be true. Toga. Really? Dobby. It may be, but at the same time it moves at a speed that is simply abysmal. He said this making Tamura happy about this very thing. Tamura. It's already close. He just went out to the deck of the ship to see the sea where it didn't take long for some kind of explosion to happen, through which they saw Izuku come out who landed on the ship, cracking part of it where the young man looked annoyed at the villains where some of them were worried. Tamura. Congratulations, you found us and we are happy about that. Izuku. What do you think you're doing? Tamura. What's wrong? Aren't you happy to see us? Izuku. Wretches, you are surely the ones causing trouble right now. I don't plan on showing you any mercy. Dobby. We'll see about that. He let out his flames towards the young man who responded with his atomic breath, making the difference in powers visible after everyone saw how the breath went directly towards Dobby, who barely managed to dodge it, but that consequence of avoiding the attack ended up damaging the ship they were on. Toga. Great Dobby, at this rate we won't have a boat to leave on. Dobby. It doesn't matter much, we have other problems. They watched as the young man approached them, each step destroying part of the place without causing too many problems. Tamura. Before we can continue with our little game, I think you should be able to greet your friends first, if that's what you can call it. After telling him that, the young man noticed that there was an object about centimeters from his face that almost hit him, but the same young man managed to avoid it without much trouble by bending down, only to notice that it was an axe that had a chain tied to it, which went directly towards the inside of the shed. Tamura. I don't think they really seem like a nice friendship if they greet each other like that. Izuku. Miserable Kong, why are you outside your island? I look towards the shed where I notice how Kong slowly came out in his human form, who didn't seem very happy, let's say. Izuku. What are you doing outside your territories? Kong. Well, Skull Island is no longer a place I can live after the business with Ghidorah, so these guys are taking me to a safe place where I can live better. Izuku. You know perfectly well that things don't work that way in this place. Kong. Maybe not, but as long as I have to find a new territory and these people take me with them, I have no choice but to take them with me so that I can keep them safe from your attacks and have a place to live. Izuku. You're really asking for trouble at this rate, you know. Kong. Maybe, but I'm planning on finding a new home and I won't let you interfere with that. Izuku. That means we'll have a conflict in a nutshell. Kong. Do you really believe it? The two looked at each other before being able to launch themselves against each other, where clearly their intentions were to hit each other. At the moment of doing so the two hit each other in the face at the same time, moving back a little. But Kong managed to take advantage by going faster after throwing another blow to Izuku's body, causing him to move back where he wanted to continue with another blow to his face in order to prepare his axe. But he noticed how his foot was taken by Izuku's tail, who directly went to lift him in the air to throw him towards the shed, leaving a cloud of dust in the place where the young man was approaching for this same reason. But in the end he noticed how from the air the axe flew again towards the young man who barely managed to dodge it, that was drawn towards Kong by that chain that he had, causing him to run with a weapon in hand towards Izuku. Not far from them in a boat was the League of Villains who were moving away from the fight. Toga. Is it a good idea to let Kong fight alone? Dobby. It's probably for the best, another boat is coming in the end, so in case something happens to ours, we can only take it to another point. Spinner. Not to mention that it's a terrible idea to have to get close to the fight of two alpha titans, very bad if we want to live. He said this as they walked away from that fight where Izuku managed to take the lead after hitting the floor, making the entire ship tremble, and Kong lose part of his balance, where he was taken advantage of by the young man who launched himself into the attack to connect him with a charge that sent him crashing into different points of the ship, where at the same time Izuku's arm was tied by that chain of the axe, where Kong came out from the rubble, who by starting to spin with those chains managed to make Izuku lose his balance so that he crashed into different parts of the ship without being able to do anything more than cover himself until he was thrown towards a part where he was at the edge of it and was about to go directly into the sea. The moment he got up again he received another attack from Kong towards his face that this time sent him into the sea, where Kong thought he would have the victory, but it would turn out to be the worst thing he would have done at that moment. Izuku. Miserable. If you want to play like this, then we'll do it this way. He only moved through the water so he could look up and shoot his atomic breath into the ship through the boilers, blowing it to pieces. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.